Sit down. Sit. Welcome back to the channel. Jake Gassie's the channel. Down here. I got my boy Jordan with me. I told you we'd have a guest on this show. Jordan's going to be a regular of this show whenever there is a massive movie event. And this is a movie event because, ladies and gentlemen, we are 2 days away from the true Justice League. You know what? Let's watch the first trailer again. Me and Jordan are going to check out this first trailer again to get you and us in the mood. Superman, Scream.
That was something really nice, like added piece.
Yeah. Just to remind everybody where we're at. Do you think we'll see a lot of Lex in this?
Maybe a little God is dead, but I don't think there's going to be too much. We're also supposed to see Deathstroke again.
True.
Of it,
I had a dream. Almost like a premonition. I think there's an attack coming.
Bro, my heart's beating fast.
My lord, this one will fall.
Just even that little bit of apocalypse that we see.
Yeah.
Like warriors.
It looks menacing.
I'm building an alliance to defend ourselves.
How do you know your team's strong enough? If you can't bring down the charging bull, and don't wave the red cape at it.
Goosebumps to that line
I
right
love
there.
it. I love it. You don't want the smoke.
No.
You're sent here for a reason.
Yes, Cyborg.
And even if it takes you the rest of your life, find out what that reason
I
is.
love that they included Jonathan Kent in there again.
Yeah, his little photograph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They said the age of heroes would never come again.
Oh my god.
It will. It has to.
Bro.
We
2 days.
in a society where honor is a distant memory. Isn't that right? Batman.
Oh.
No, 2 days.
Even from that trailer alone, it looks like Jared Leto's Joker is getting a reprieval from Suicide Squad. Like, they did him dirty in that movie. Actually, that movie wasn't very good to begin with.
Trash.
But yeah, he looked like he was pretty menacing, and then they just ruined it. So there looks incredible. And
So let's talk heroes. Unite the 7. So there's 7. Number 7. Least excited to see.
Least excited to see, I would probably say Aquaman. Okay. As much as I still like Jason Momoa's Aquaman, I just want to see a lot more from the other characters, and I don't really care too much about like his character arc, especially since we've already had his movie, his solo movie. But you never know. I mean, it's I don't want to say that I least like to see, because I want to see all of them.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I would probably say Aquaman is number 7 there.
Yeah, I think you took the words out of my mouth. It was either gonna be Aquaman or Wonder Woman, just because I think like Wonder Woman is two movies deep, right? And I mean, there's so much speculation of her powers now in my mind. What she can do or can't do at this point because of her movie. Like, spoilers, Wonder Woman, she could fly in Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm not even gonna talk about that.
About that movie, that'll just bring us down.
Yeah, exactly. I can't stand it. But Aquaman just edges it out in front of her just because I think in that same sense Wonder Woman has a lot more to prove. Aquaman is not like I don't like the character, it's just like I think I've seen what he's going to do already. You know? But I'm hoping to be proved wrong. Right? So that brings us to number 6. Which was number 6? Wonder Woman's my number 6.
Same. I agree. For everything that you just said there, I agree. Again, we've had 2 solo movies of hers. We've had her show up in Batman v Superman, the original Justice League, which let's not talk about that. But we know her. We know what she's capable of for the most part. And we know her background. We're not really looking for any kind of enriching storyline that will appeal to us anymore. I think we know who she is. That's it. So
I feel you on that. Okay, so number 5. Who's got that number 5 spot?
that's tough because now you're getting into some. I mean, they're all heavy hitters, but now you're getting into the heaviest of hitters.
Yeah.
Well, it just depends on who the 7th person's going to be, right? Because we've only been introduced to 6.
Yeah.
So is the 7th person going to be a surprise?
Okay, so let's break it down to 6 then, because you just brought up a good point, right? Anybody who is following this knows that Martian Manhunter is going to be the next one, but we're dealing with what we have.
Yeah.
Right? Because we don't Jack. Jack's my dog, everyone. We don't know what to expect from Martian Manhunter, so we're dealing with a blank slate. So I guess number 5 out of the 6. Number 4 out of the 6.
Number 4 out of the 6, to me, is probably The Flash, to be honest. We know that we're obviously getting kind of his origin story in his movie coming up, and from everything that I've heard, it's basically going to kind of reset the whole universe.
Yeah.
It's going to basically be like a Flashpoint event. So, in this movie, I just want to see a more serious, kind of more confident Flash, even though he is the youngest of everybody in the group. I want to see him kind of show off his powers a little bit more, while still staying kind of more serious to the tone of the movie.
Yeah.
But I don't really need again too much from him, because again, this isn't a Flash solo movie.
Yeah,
this is a Justice League team up. We'll get that down the road. So
yeah, Flash doesn't take that spot for me yet. Number 4, I believe we're at. I want to say, can you take a guess who it is for me?
I'm going to probably say Batman.
Batman.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Because I'm like a Batman fanboy. I'm a Batman like expert. And I'm not gonna lie, Jack, please.
I know you're excited about it too, Jack.
Yes, 2 days. Okay, so I know everything Batman can do, and we've seen a lot of the things that are things Batman can do, like the warehouse scene, right? So I've got a good understanding of what this Batman is capable of and what I'd like to see. I'd just like to see more of the good things we've already seen, and we've had a lot of it to sort of reminisce on. So in terms of excitement for him to be on the screen, Batman takes that spot for me.
Okay.
Now we are getting into the top 3.
For the 3rd is Batman for me. And the reason why I chose him ahead of The Flash is simply because with The Flash, he's kind of a generally unknown property when it comes to DC Comics.
Yeah.
He's not the holy trinity of comic book characters, essentially. So even though they made him a little bit more kind of jokey, you can kind of get away with that sometimes with the Flash, because in the comics he actually does crack a lot of jokes. He's a very kind of I would say almost like cocky type of character, where he'll have that banter, and but knowing that he's incredibly powerful. But again, one of the main reasons why I am expecting more from Batman this time is simply because I want to see, again, I want to see him that kind of stereotypical Batman that we've had since the beginning of, you know, his story back in the 1940s or whenever it was, where he's dark and serious. In 2017 Justice League, how many jokes did he crack? Or when he comes back to life and he's grabbing him, and it's like, you know, do you bleed and all that, and then afterwards he cracks a joke. He's like, yep, something's bleeding.
Oh gosh, yes.
When have we ever seen that? Like, I don't like that. Batman is one of those characters where it doesn't matter whether it's, you know, a different director's kind of vision. You don't change him from what he is in the comic books.
No.
He will forever be that character. Don't touch him.
Well, I mean, if you have him jokey like that, he's not Batman.
No. Another thing, it wasn't jokey, but he when they're in Russia there, when they're in that big smokestack there, and Superman shows up, and he's got the biggest smile on his face.
Oh gosh, that was cringeworthy. That was actually cringeworthy.
Why? Yeah, it was. I honestly, every single time I see that, I cringe, because when would he ever do that?
He was fanboying over
He
Superman.
was. Yeah,
Fanboy.
like the biggest, you know, goofiest smile on his face. Don't do that. I don't want to see that.
It was bad.
I don't want to see that. And I mean, the good thing is too, is from what we've seen from the trailers so far, is that he is much more serious and he's more confident. In 2017's version, he was afraid.
He just looked like a broken down.
He did.
Batman.
And you can be broken down, but you can still be true to the character, and that's what I'm hoping. I'm fairly certain we're going to see in this newer version, or the actual version, if you will.
What we were supposed to get.
Yes, that he'll be more serious and more true to who he is. So
yeah, I feel you. So we're at number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my number 3 is I'm gonna say Superman. I'm gonna say Superman only because yes, the black suit effect is going to wear off eventually, and I want to see what he is going to do in the situation that he's put in. In the next trailer that we're gonna get into, we see a big hand on Superman's shoulder. So I want to see what that's all about and how he's gonna deal with that situation. That's why he makes it to number 3. That's like the main reason he makes it there. Also, I want to see Superman just go off at some point, take his power to an actual limit that we don't think he has or that we've seen yet. So I think he has yet to show us that, because against what's his name, DARKSEID. Against DARKSEID, like he didn't take his power to the limit. He just sort of endured. You know, like he just faced something that was just like him, and he didn't know. But he's dealing with like actual strength. You know what I mean? He's dealing with someone who's different than him. Like you're talking about DARKSEID and Omega beams. You're talking about Steppenwolf, which I don't think is going to be that much of a challenge, to be honest. But I think Superman is going to be able to stretch his legs in this, and I think that's what he makes it to number 3 for me. That's good. I'm gonna go with my number 2 straight off the bat. We got Cyborg at number 2, and I want to see, because I think they did him so dirty in the first one. He, like, my girlfriend hates when he's on screen because he's just depressing.
I liken him in the 2017 Justice League to Superman in Batman v Superman, the theatrical cut.
Yes.
Where there's no backstory, so you have no idea why they're just depressed.
Yeah.
And they just come across as moody. That's
Yeah.
all it is. There's no reason for it. You don't understand why. They're just moody.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I don't like this.
Yeah. And in the first version of the Justice League, yes, I get that you were turned into something that you didn't want to be, and you're a football player that we saw for 2 seconds, right? We saw it for 2 seconds, but as an athlete, I get that something was taken away from you, and now you're this weird thing. I get that. But at some point, in every superhero movie, they show a turning point where they realize this is kind of cool, right? They never showed that
No.
with him, right? And I feel like in this movie, we're gonna get to see in this trailer, it said in the background, in the realm of like ones, numbers, and zeros, you are the absolute. This guy can connect to anything digital. That's insane. And all we saw him get to do is somehow handle a mother box. And how do you know how to do that? You just got these powers. We didn't see when we saw you get the powers, and then we didn't see, and you do something with this box, and we saw nothing in between.
Yeah.
Right? There's no build up to that. So Cyborg is my number 2.
Yeah.
For me.
Same.
Yeah.
Cyborg is number 2 for me as well. For everything that you've just said, but again, just the fact that he does have a bit of like a character arc in like the course of or at least it looks like he's going to have a bit of a character arc in the course of this movie.
Yeah, it does.
Where again, he's going to start off where you don't understand why he resents who he's become essentially, or what he's become.
Yeah.
And then through that, you'll get obviously a backstory into, okay, this is what happened to him. This is why he is what he is now. And at least at the end, it looks like we'll probably see...
Jack, sit.
You're excited about
Sit.
Cyborg 2, aren't you?
Yeah,
we'll
Jack
see,
shows up whenever he's excited.
We'll see basically him kind of accept it, I think, in a way. And I think, too, it'll be the acceptance of he's got such great powers, and I think that will kind of be a motivating factor for him to accept that, hey, you know what, I am very integral in the future of my world, the future of Justice League.
And this mission. Yeah.
And I think hopefully what we get is we get kind of a comparison between how he felt when he was a football player and how he feels now being Cyborg and having these powers, because I feel like you could compare those two, where he was incredibly confident and he loved his life and things like that. I don't want it to seem like this whole thing is a burden for him.
You want to see him have some fun in it.
Exactly. I mean, obviously, initially, before he understands how powerful he is, then sure, it could be potentially a burden, because I've never had to deal with this, and now all of a sudden I'm thrust in this position, and you need me to do all these things that I've never done before. That's great, but I want to see, again, that the comparison between his previous life and currently, and how those kind of all go into him kind of accepting himself at the end. So
Cyborg is definitely up there for those reasons that we just mentioned. Okay, so you're number 1.
Soups.
Yeah,
I mean,
of course.
I'm obviously biased.
Yeah.
I still,
Big
to
Superman
me,
fan?
I still think that Man of Steel, honestly, is one of my favorite movies. Not even just comic book movies, but one of my favorite movies of all time.
The big words.
I've loved, the character himself, I've loved the character ever since I can remember. But Henry Cavill's Superman,
He's my Superman.
there's nobody else that has come close to him. And what I'm hoping for, again, is... let's take it back. So basically what was said by Zack Snyder I think it was kind of just after just before Justice League was supposed to come out. He had basically said that Henry Cavill's Superman was basically going to have this kind of arc through the three movies. So Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and then Justice League. And it was the whole birth, death, and then rebirth. And that's essentially what I'm looking for. Again, they're all the other superheroes have great reasons for me to choose them higher. I think, but simply because it's kind of the end of that kind of arc where I'm hoping to see, like you mentioned earlier, I'm hoping to see him completely go off, like realizing that okay, now he's actually going up against somebody that's formidable, and he doesn't have to hold back anymore. That's what I'm hoping for. I also want to see kind of like Bruce and Clark kind of making up for the fact that they went through what they did in Batman v Superman, because obviously they never really got that closure, if you will. So I think something along the lines of that. Now it doesn't necessarily have to be like a Tony Stark and Steve Rogers type of closure where it's all like corny and
it doesn't have to be
no, but just some form of okay, you know what,
mutual respect.
Yeah, exactly, mutual respect. Bruce says I'm sorry for what I did, or not believing in you, whatever it may be, and you can leave it at that essentially. And then again, I mean, when I see the black and gray or black and silver suit, it's synonymous with obviously the death of Superman, and that's one of those things where it's not the the biggest thing. It's not a huge storyline. It's kind of the folklore around it, where it's something that I've wanted to see it for a long time, simply because I loved that story of the death of Superman, and then eventually him coming back to life and using that suit to pull in the solar rays in order to strengthen himself. So and I think that's just going to be a really nice added touch, and I'm excited to see it.
I don't think people understand the lure behind the black suit. Like, for example, I didn't know that he chose the black suit to soak up the solar rays better. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it was all around the time. So basically what had happened, for anybody that doesn't know, I'll just go into very brief history. So Superman's killed by Doomsday. And then all of a sudden they go to, so they have the funeral, all that stuff. They go to his tomb, and all of a sudden his tomb is empty. He's not there anymore. How did he escape? Well, it turns out that Superman, it's very, 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 very difficult to kill him. He wasn't actually dead. He was just kind of in a very, he was in stasis, essentially. So his heart was beating, but it was beating like once per month. That's how slow it was. So he was still alive. It's just, and that's what they kind of showed at the end of Batman v Superman, was when they showed like the coffin there, and then the dirt kind of lifted off. You could see, okay, he's still alive. It's just, so anyways, fast forward, now the world has basically tried to replace Superman. So they have 4 different Supermen. One's like a cyborg Superman. There's a couple of different versions of them. But obviously they're now all just power hungry and looking to, control the world essentially. And eventually Kal-El comes back into the picture. He's all disheveled, he's got long hair and a beard and things that, and he's wearing that suit, and that's exactly what it is. That suit helps him to regenerate and really soak up solar rays, or in order to gain his strength back. So that's basically the history of it. So there's obviously not going to be cyborg Superman in this movie, and I'm not expecting there to be, but again, it's kind of that whole idea of rebirth. That's what I'm looking forward to seeing. So Superman
is the big granddaddy of all superheroes. So if he's on number 1 on anybody's list, even just for that reason, I there's no argument for me. And in this trailer, he looked pissed.
Yeah.
And I love it.
I do too.
I love it.
I feel like he's not going to hold back.
No.
He's just going to do what he needs to do.
Yeah.
And at the same time, too, what you mentioned before with what we think is Darkseid's hand on his shoulder, that's another kind of comic book arc where, you know, he's controlled by the anti-life equation. And so that's when he kind of goes off, and that's actually what we saw in Batman v Superman. Was he was being controlled by Darkseid, and that's why he, in the nightmare scenario, that's why he was kind of that evil character. It wasn't him.
I remember.
It wasn't him. It was he was being controlled. So. Again,
I hope we see that in this movie at some point.
Maybe a little bit. I think we might. Maybe they might have an extended, you know, portion of the nightmare scenario where we do see that. I don't know if we'll necessarily see him being controlled kind of in the actual story itself, what we're actually seeing in kind of the present time in the movie. But you never know. I mean, Darkseid could just be there trying to break him down at that point. But yeah, there are a whole bunch of different things that could happen in this movie with his character, and I'm here for it. So
I'm so here for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so my last one, which is my first one, is Flash. And I never thought when there was first a Justice League film announced, I never thought that I would be wanting to see more Flash, only because I would think that they would give us more Flash in the first place. You know what I mean? He's a very cool character. How many times have you been asked the question, like, I don't know, would you rather super speed or flight? Would you rather super speed or teleportation? Would you rather super speed or whatever? Super speed is awesome. And to see on screen, oh, like, if you watch the trailer, when he zips away, he is gone. Like, he is fast, man. And I know he's the Flash, but to see it on screen like that, it was almost like when I actually really enjoyed seeing him in that little convenience store in Batman v Superman. And I liked seeing the little timestamp on the screen, and I was like, "Holy shit!"
And it doesn't change, but yet he goes and stops, you know, a robbery basically.
Yeah, and catches the milk.
Yeah, he catches the milk.
And I was like, "Okay, no, this is the Flash, and he is really, really fast." And I want to see him in that Speed Force. I think that's what I want to see on screen the most.
Yeah. Well, and what I really like about what we've been seeing is at least the small details in this movie are, and I think that's what Zack Snyder does really well, is he's kind of a stickler for all of those really small details. But when we see the scene where he's saving Iris West from that car, you know, flipping over, there's the glass shattering where he's literally just poking at it and the glass shatters. But then if you noticed as well, when he's running there, the ground is crumbling underneath his feet.
It's rippling.
It's rippling underneath his feet. Something so small, but you get a sense of, wow, okay, he's pretty fast and strong.
This is nothing to him.
And then it's all the street lights as he's charging up. He's literally taking all of the power from all of the street lights and like using it to run. Yeah. Again, such a small little thing, but it's something that I think just shows exactly how powerful he is, and that's and you know, again, what you were talking about, the Speed Force. I mean, I'm really looking forward to the Speed Force, something that we've never seen before, and I'm sure that, you know, we'll see in the next trailer there, but they show Cyborg and Barry running through the Speed Force trying to like catch him. Yeah. And like Cyborg looks like he's disintegrating. Yeah. And Barry's trying to reach out to him through this. Again, seemingly small things, but could be incredible.
I think it's going to be incredible. All right, so now that we've gone through all those characters, let's go through that second trailer. Whew. You ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
Let's get it.
So begins the end.
He's doing the whole Toretto stance.
I've never seen a being as strong. Maybe one. He's back.
I spent a lot of time trying to divide us. I made a promise to him on his grave.
It's deep.
I need to bring us together. There are enemies coming from far away.
They serve an old power.
This world is divided. No protectors here. No lanterns. No plutonium. It will fall in his name. I have turned the worlds to dust. All of existence shall be mine.
Okay. Like,
That energy burst around the world.
jeez.
I have a second chance. I am not gonna waste it.
He said the age of heroes will never come again.
Fighting the devil and his army.
Mega beams.
I don't care how many demons he's fought and how many hells. He's never fought us united.
Yes.
It's time to stand. Fight. The time is now.
Oh,
Bro.
it's gonna be so good.
I can't believe this is 2 days. I can't
Yeah.
I can't wrap my mind around it.
The one thing that this kind of makes me feel is I'm upset that we can't see it on the big screen.
Oh my
That's
god. yes.
that's kind of the
No,
one.
you're right. You're
And
right.
listen, we can't control what's going on in the world.
No, of course not.
It is what it is. But like, I just want to be able to, and maybe they'll re-release it. Maybe once things
hope
open
so.
back up,
Yeah.
they'll decide, hey, you know what? Let's put it out there. Let's
Yeah.
put it out in the theaters, because I guarantee you people will go and
Are
see
you
it.
kidding me? I would go and see it.
Yeah.
I'd go for sure.
So there were a couple of things during that trailer that I wanted to kind of get your opinion on, because I wasn't super sure, but it kind of like sets maybe some things up. So there's one scene
Yeah.
where we see like Bruce Wayne's like house,
Yes.
and there's a being that is floating there.
Yeah.
I've been reading that that's actually Martian Manhunter.
Yes, that's what I heard.
So will that be our first introduction to him? Is him kind of floating down to like the house, going, you know,
No.
this is who I am?
I don't think that's our first introduction to him. I think our first introduction to him is going to be just him. I don't think it's going to be him talking to anybody. I think it's going to be much like when we see that person, what's it, Martha Kent with the red eyes. Well, I think obviously that might be Martian Manhunter, and I think it might be in a scene something like that.
So
More
that
more
was
likely.
that was the next scene, right?
Yeah.
When I first saw that, I was like, okay, that's Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
Because obviously he shapeshifts, so he
course.
can turn. He can basically take the shape of any person he wants to. But then I was also reading that no, it's actually DARKSEID controlling Martha with the anti-life equation, and that's why
deep.
her eyes are red. So maybe that's why he's able to kind of control Superman when he has his hand on his shoulder there, because he's basically said, and we saw it in Batman v Superman, right, when Lex kidnapped
His mother.
Martha, he lost it.
Yeah.
So when he basically, maybe DARKSEID comes in and says, "I have control of your mother" or something along that, and that's why we see him kind of, sullen and upset because now he knows, okay, there's somebody more powerful doing things to the people that I love.
If this DARKSEID would do that, I think we have a seriously deep story on our hands, because that's a lot to get to.
Yeah.
As well as introduce these characters the way Zack Snyder wanted to in the first place. Like, there is so much to get to in this movie, and like, I think it's going to be one of those movies where 4 hours zips by. I really do think so.
Yeah.
I think we're obviously going to feel that it's 4 hours, but I think it's going to... Not 4 hours. I think it's going to feel more like 3 hours,
Probably.
I think this thing's going to just fly by because there's so much new stuff to get to. All put together in the right way this time.
Well, and I like, again, the way that it seems like it's going to be constructed, where it's broken into parts as well. It's not just one continuous 4 hour block, because I feel like for some people that could be a little bit too strenuous for them, where they have to sit through 4 hours of just like straight, and it's just, okay, here's the whole story, go.
Yeah.
It seems like it's okay, part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, part 6, and then I think there's a part 7 towards the end there. And I think that'll probably help the general public to kind of break it down and watch it in that way. So
yeah, I think so. Let's talk DARKSEID.
yes, let's.
Okay, so of course you have DARKSEID, and if I go like this, people say Thanos. This DARKSEID looks menacing. Is he as menacing as when you saw Thanos for the first time?
Well, it's tough for me to say, because knowing how powerful he is in the comics, it already kind of makes me believe that DARKSEID is more powerful than Thanos. But the way that Thanos was introduced throughout the entirety of like the first three phases of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I think it built his lore a lot better, where you basically came to fear him. It's tough when you're literally just introducing DARKSEID in this movie, and we're not even sure if we're going to get anything beyond this. We've already been, basically told that we're not, that once this movie comes out, that's it. We're not going to get anything else from Zack Snyder or Justice League in that way. I hope that's not the case. I hope that maybe...
I think they're going to turn that around.
I hope so. So, but yeah, it's tough. I mean, I look at DARKSEID where he doesn't really... I mean, he's got the Omega Beams. He's got the Omega Force, which is one of the most powerful forces in the universe, that basically he can essentially control a lot of people and destroy things whenever and wherever he feels like it. And one key thing, too, is he doesn't need any type of tool to complete his end goal, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that Thanos isn't strong or powerful.
He very much is.
But in order to complete his goal of wiping away half of all existence, he needed the Infinity Gauntlet with all of the Infinity Stones in order to do so, right? DARKSEID, from everything that I've read, he's never needed that. He just needs himself, and he can do whatever he wants, essentially. And I mean, he also gains power from his homeworld, Apocalypse. Like he literally takes the power from there, and that's why he talks about I've destroyed tens of thousands of planets, and I'm going to do the same thing to yours. He does that because it fuels Apocalypse in order to take all that energy, right? So I would say that, in terms of like just strength and power, I would say DARKSEID is much more powerful. I would say though, and we haven't seen Justice League, or this one at least yet, so we don't know, but typically I've always found that Thanos's reasons for doing things are stronger than Darkseid. Like
Yeah.
Darkseid is just an all-powerful being that wants to take over the universe, and
Yeah.
he just craves power. That's
Of
it.
course.
Thanos, it always seems like he has a method.
Yeah. There's a method to his madness.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like he truly believes that by snapping half of existence away, that he will make the universe better, right? Darkseid's never felt that way. Darkseid is truly just dark. That's
Yeah,
where he gets
and
his name. And evil, and he just wants absolute control and power. That's it. That's
Yeah, it
so
stops there.
so that's where I would say a character like Thanos is probably a little bit more, powerful in that way, because he does have reasons for what he does.
Yeah.
So
That's actually a really good reason. The reason I'd probably pick Darkseid is just as to the person who's like more menacing is because I think it's because of the people he's facing. You're talking about the big three: Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, the Flash, Aquaman. These are literally the biggest superheroes of all time, and he handles them like rag dolls. And he talks like he's going to handle them like rag dolls, And you brought up a good point. He just needs himself. This guy just shows up to the fight, and he's like, yeah, you saw him with the Toretto pose from Fast and the Furious with his arms out. He's like, I'm here, and I've done this before, and I'm gonna do it again.
And that's why I think we're gonna get this in Zack Snyder's Justice League. More of a backstory for Steppenwolf. We're actually going to understand his motivations for why he's here and why he wants the mother boxes, because we never got that in 2017.
Well, all he did is say his name.
Yeah.
Once.
Yeah. That, and he kept going on about mother, and
That doesn't make any sense.
And it just, all it seemed like is he wanted the mother boxes, and he wanted power, and that's actually, they kind of alluded to that. That's all he really wanted, was he wanted power in order to basically be the most powerful being in the universe.
Yeah.
I think through this movie here, this version, what we're going to see is, I think, Zack Snyder's original vision of Steppenwolf basically trying to make amends to Darkseid for maybe some past mistakes that he made, and trying to get into his good graces. And that's exactly what it seems like, right? When we see that he bows down to him and says,
he's
this
reassuring him.
This world will fall like all the others.
Yeah. He's like, there's no lanterns here.
Yeah, he's doing what he can to get back into Darkseid's good graces in order to kind of regain some of the power, I guess, that he lost. Yeah. So at least that makes a little bit more sense, and it's a reason for why he's here, because I never got that in 2017, and it just seemed like, he was there for the sake of being there. Okay.
Yeah. I also feel that they do a good job of showing that he answers to somebody, and now we know who that is, and now we understand why it's so important for you to get these mother boxes, because I won't want to fail this guy either. Yeah. Look at him. You know what I mean? So like, it gives the audience a real sense of like, okay, I understand why you like a reason why. Yeah. That's all we really needed for him to be even kind of a capable villain. Is a reason why, but we never got that.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So in terms of the villains, we've just got a really good look at them in that second trailer, and honestly, I see Superman, I see Flash, I see Batman, and all of them. I still don't know how they're gonna beat Darkseid.
No. And
I still don't know.
And so that's what I'm hoping for, an actual trilogy of Justice League movies where we can actually see that storyline play out, because
that's the dream.
Yeah, because I mean, more than likely, I doubt that there are going to be any big surprises in this movie, right? It's going to play out pretty much the same as it did in 2017. They're going to team up, they're going to face Steppenwolf. They should win.
I think the surprises come in the way it all happens. The very meat of it, I think, is going to be very, very fleshed out instead of just a skeleton. Because we knew from time you see the Justice League and time you see the bad guy, the Justice League is going to win somehow.
Yeah.
but it's how they get to that point. And I
Yeah.
think the how they get to that point is going to be like those iceberg things, you know what I mean? Like, we saw this much, but really there's all this underneath,
that we don't see.
right?
Yeah.
So I think that's what we are going to be really surprised with. Yeah. So I can't even overstate it enough. I've literally been waiting for this my entire life, and it's 2 days away.
Yeah.
I'm somehow being able to keep my heart from pumping outside of my chest. I'm like those Looney Tune characters when like the heart's going like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it looks like everything I want it to be. Over or Jack, stop licking me. Jesus Christ. Anyways, over or under? Big question. Over or under? Over or under 40%, it's bad.
I don't think it can be. I mean, if this were the first version that we were seeing, we might kind of think otherwise. But I think because we've already seen 2017 and we're comparing it to that, I don't think you can really get worse.
Yeah, I don't think it's hard to get worse.
So, based off of that, I'm gonna say way under 40. That there's almost no way that this could be a bad movie.
There's
I mean,
almost no possible way, right?
will it be as good as, say, Infinity War or Endgame? Maybe not, only because, again, we've had that universe. We've had time for it to completely flesh itself out, see all the characters and all that.
That's almost like this universe's arena, though.
No, and I completely agree. But again, we've only had, when it comes down to it, we've only had a fraction of the amount of movies in the DC cinematic universe that we've got from the Marvel cinematic universe. And realistically, from what we've been hearing, and even Zack Snyder has said it, like, this is really more of a standalone movie, that it's not even really canon to the universe, which sucks because it has all of the same actors playing the same characters in this movie. But, you know, I think it's just one of those things where you have to kind of gauge it on its own in a way. So, I mean, by that logic, I still think it's going to be, you know, I don't necessarily know if it'll be incredible to most people. If it includes some of the things that we've been talking about in there, I'll be thoroughly happy. And by that, I can deem it to be a good movie. But again, that remains to be seen, right? They could have all of these little bits and pieces that they're throwing at us in the trailers, and then they show us the movie and none of it's in there. I'll be, you know, we'll be sitting there going, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, what was the point of this?
Yeah. No, you're right. So. But I think it's way under 40 as well. From no possible angle that I look at, from the whole story behind why this movie wasn't made in the first place, and now it's getting to be made. And even looking from the angle of all the trailers, what we get to see that we said that we wanted to see, we get to see it now.
That's true.
Right? From every angle I look at this, I'm like, this is a sure win. It's a sure win. Like, I'm like 98% diving in, you know? I got my toes left.
Yeah.
I got like my toenails left, bro. Like, I'm in for it.
Yeah.
I've wanted to see it my whole life. I know you have too. We got 2 days left.
Yes.
Jay Gassy, the channel, right here. Jordan, he's going to be a regular when we got events like this, just to talk about it. Explain it, break it down, talk about our favorite things, favorite characters. You know he'll be back for the review. It's going to be spoiler filled. So, don't watch this. Or don't watch the review if you haven't watched the movie. We'll get to that when we see it. Later, guys. Peace.